Guys, Andy Game here, back with another video, and today it's story time again. Story time number 2. As you can see in the background, we have NBA 2K16 My Park. I am the power forward, 6'11" power forward with the Shaq jersey. And yeah, this story time is about the times I've gotten hurt in my life, or anything with broken bones, or yeah. So with the first story, this story is kind of weird. I don't know how it really happened. So when I was 4 years old, my mom was pregnant. Okay? I don't know the exact date. And my dad was mowing the lawn. And I was, of course, with my brother, who is 2 years older than me, and my neighbor, who's the same age as me. And we were playing with some plywood. Okay, plywood. We're making like little forts and stuff, like stacking them on top of each other. And I was like sitting down with my hands behind my back. And next thing I hear is like, oh no, my brother drops it. He drops it and it lands directly on my pinky. My pinky gets cut. Okay, cut. Like sliced off. It's hanging by a piece of skin. I was screaming and yelling. My dad went inside my hand. My mom was just right there. She was crying. So before she was pregnant still. And my hand was covered in all blood. And I remember the drive to the hospital. Probably one of my worst drives ever. It felt like days, but it was only like 30 minutes. And oh my gosh. But luckily, we got to stitch up the finger. So it's still on. But you can still see some of my finger is off on my pinky. A little bit of it is not there. You can tell like the bruise and scar of it. And yeah, that is crazy story when I was 4 of how my finger fell off. The next story is when I was, I don't know, jeez, a little bit older, like 6 or 7. And yeah, 6 or 7. I was in first grade, I'm pretty sure. And in my neighborhood, we always used to love and play Cops and Robbers. You guys do not know that game. It is where there's a couple cops and a bunch of robbers. If you find them, you tag them, and they go to jail with you, and people can save you in jail. We loved that game. We played it. I was with my brother's friends. And so here's the story of one of my worst times playing Cops and Robbers. I was running, of course, hiding behind one of the houses we usually hide behind with my neighbor. And then we saw the person and he saw us. We started sprinting. Of course, I was slower than my neighbor because I was younger. And the grass, guys, you remember this, the grass was wet. Every grass was wet because it rained the day before. So the grass was wet. I was barefoot. And so we were getting chased down. It was behind my house, a house down. And I kept running away from him. He was catching up to me. I wasn't looking at him, but I slipped on the cement and landed shoulder first and broke my collarbone. I broke my left collarbone. Probably one of the worst feelings of my life. I remember just crying, and my brother had to walk me home. Luckily, we were close enough to my house, and we got home, and my dad, we didn't know if it was broken or not. I remember coming home that day in the cast and saying it was broken. And then I sat in the room for the next part of the day and just playing the Wii all day. The Wii was the game to play. I couldn't really do anything. It was hard to put clothes on. And yeah, that's the story. I broke my left collarbone. The next story is probably the funniest one you'll hear out of all of these. This is when I was in 3rd grade. I'm pretty positive. So I was 9 or so, 8 or 9. And again, I was in Kentucky for spring break of 3rd grade, and I was with my cousin and my brother, of course, but that's how I got hurt. So I was outside with my brother. My cousin lived on top of this huge hill, so of course, we brought our scooters there, because scooters were the bomb, and I decided, me and my brother always, the whole time, wanted to ride down the hill. We did ride down a hill that was about the same size. The neighbor's driveway was really big. But we wanted to ride down this huge hill that kept on going forever. Of course, kids, you want to ride down the hills. Hills are just fun with scooters, longboards, whatever you want to ride. And you know me, big basketball fan, just all that. So this is how it happens. So me and my brother ride down the hill. We start right down the hill. Like ready, set, go. We were right next to each other the whole time. It was awesome ride until it happened. I was looking at him, wasn't looking where I was going, wasn't paying attention at all. And you know where those sewer things go? Yeah, there was a pothole in the middle of the road, and I didn't notice it. Of course, I was still looking at my brother. We're smiling. Like, we had the biggest smiles on our faces. I couldn't describe the smiles. They were huge. It was super fun ride, but, I broke, jeez. Okay, so the pothole, first thing that happened, my brother says he saw this. So my front wheel went in, of course. I flipped over, landing on my right side this time, my right side, and it killed like nothing tomorrow. I started bawling right away. I was crying hard. My dad was saying, it's not broken. There's no way it's broken. So my mom's like crying, like, yes, it was. So we went to a Kentucky doctor. Never been to Kentucky doctor, of course. So we're in Kentucky. Just go to this random doctor. I broke my right collarbone this time. Right collarbone. And, crazy thing. Right collarbone. I remember he gave me medicine. And after he gave me medicine, he gave me an orange popsicle. Orange popsicle, okay? And it was, of course, good popsicle, but it killed. Then we drove instantly away from Kentucky, went home to Michigan, like a 6-hour drive. And it was still like it was like 12 o'clock. So the funny thing is, the funny part is after this. Okay, so I have this thing, this weird cast. It's like all around my arm, so I look like my shoulders are shrugged up. So I'm walking like sideways back and forth. Looks really weird. So once we got home at Michigan, like 6 o'clock, I was still in pain. So my dad says, let's go to a Detroit Pistons basketball game. So we instantly walk to my neighbor's house and say, hey, you want to go to a Pistons game? And he said, yeah. So right after that, we literally just drove to the Pistons game. We drove there. It was a good game. The only bad part was when I was left by myself, I was just sitting there walking around with my leaning to the right a lot. I looked very uncomfortable. Later on, we learned that wasn't probably the best. Like, our other doctor told us that wasn't really the best cast to use. He gave me back to the normal cast I used last time. It was a terrible experience. Hurt like nothing tomorrow. And yeah, it's time I broke my right collarbone. This next story, I could do another one, but this next story is probably the funniest story. You ever hear how someone broke something? It wasn't me though. Guys, I know I said about me getting injured, but you want to hear this story. This is a hilarious story, okay? So, my brother was playing baseball. We played travel baseball. And it was like a 2-0 count, 0-2 count. My brother tells me, because they call timeout to talk to the pitcher. He tells me, Andy, go behind the fence. I say, okay. He's guessing he's going to get a home run, okay? So I go to left center, okay? Perfect spot, First pitch, hits it super high, super far. I start like, oh, that's going to be gone. That's going to be gone. It was gone. It was super far hit. But the funniest part of it was the kid in center field. He was staring at the ball the whole time, ran straight into the fence. Straight into the fence. He cut his nose open. Cut it straight open. I witnessed the whole thing. Of course, I grabbed the baseball, gave it to my brother, but I witnessed his nose get sliced up. He was on the field crying forever. His cries were probably the most painful thing I've ever heard. Later out, we figured out he broke his nose, of course, and he broke his nose, and it was terrible how he broke his nose. It was probably the funniest but weirdest experience I've ever seen someone break his nose. The funny thing is how my brother and I knew and guessed how he hit the home run, but how the kid broke his nose. The kid was, I don't know, yeah. Thank you guys for watching. You can tell I lost. If you guys really like these story times, hit that like button and subscribe. You guys have been showing a lot of support lately, subscribing and watching my videos and hitting the like button. If you guys really like this series, just keep on showing support to it. And yeah. I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya!